this is Sean again, back with another episode of All Things Black. So I have two new friends here.
Yeah. Well, I'm Sarah. My background is that I'm Arab and African, so I'm kind of mixed, and I've lived most of my life in Sweden, where I grew up since I was a kid.
All right. My name is Gloria. I'm Congolese. I was born in Congo, Kinshasa, in Africa, and I've been living in France for 10 years, and I'm 26 years old.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So today we are going to talk to Sara and Gloria about colorism. So, okay. All right. So our first question is, what does the word colorism mean to you? Anybody can go first.
For me, just the fact that to hear colorism with the color, you already know what's going on with that word. It just define a different shade of color. Like for black people, there's so many shade of color. So of course, colorism have something to do with that.
Right. Yeah, because there's a lot of variation with Black people. There's going to be preference in the community.
Exactly.
Okay, and for you?
Yeah. Well, colorism. Uh, yeah, it means judging someone by his or her color, and it's different, I would say, when you're in a black community or a white community. When you're in a white community, it doesn't matter what type of black shade you have, you're still black. So colorism would be everyone who's not white. And if you're talking about in African community, it would be the shade nuance, like how dark or how light skinned you are.
Okay.
But it's still
Oh,
color.
that's a good point. So it reflects differently depending on who you're around.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So our next question is, what are some examples of colorism? So you can answer that from your community that you live in now, or that you see generally. So I can go first. An example of colorism that I know of, say in the Black community in America, um, you have that a lot of like women who are the objects of affection in music videos are lighter toned women, or you have in America um, a lot of men who feel that darker toned Black women fit a certain stereotype as loud or and also a preference in our community to date or marry lighter toned Black women. So those are my examples of colorism. Oh, or and another example could be like there's been studies that found that in America, a Black man with more education and more experience that's darker toned is less likely to get a job against a lighter man with less education because darker skinned men are seen as more aggressive in America. So those are my examples.
From my experiences, it started when I was a child. I had to see around me that light skin was more privileged when it comes to beauty and just like you on the media. And it was kind of not too hard for me to deal with that, but more for my mother because she wanted to make sure that us as a children we don't struggle like her. So she would try to put some light skin lotion bleach on us in order to make us look more appealing to people around there and even when we grow up. But lucky for us, me for example, I didn't like to put cream like that because I was lazy and it was annoying. So I was very comfortable with my skin tone, so my mom stopped doing that. But of course I had to learn the hard way by stranger, like adults, and even in high school and etc. And when I came to Europe, experienced colorism when I came in France from guys and girls from the media, but I didn't know it was called colorism. I just learned it when I after high school. I learned it when I was like 21 or 22 year old that what colorism was, and I faced it on the internet too since I learned to speak English, and I was facing a lot of different type of black people and white people. So yeah, colorism is a huge factor and a huge impact of a little black girl and even mixed black women who are not light skinned.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you.
Well, for me, I would
yeah.
say that I experienced colorism since I was a kid. When I went to school, I was maybe one of the only two children that were black or were colored. So I was bullied since I was a kid, and that was all because of my color, and also because I always scored the highest scores. So they were like, "How can a black girl make it? She is like I don't know what she's doing." So they would always beat me after the exams, and tell me that if I pass next exam, they will beat me again. But I never listened to it. So that was like the type of colorism that I went through. Then when I grew older, the colorism became something else. It was more about the preference, or no one would bully you. It would be like, oh, Amanda, would you come to us? Or, oh yeah, we're gonna go to Amanda. They have to follow the lighter girls, whether she was Swedish or more like being Swedish. And then when I came to high school, it would be more about the parties. The parties where most of the people that were there were black, white. So people would get to this kind of habit where you will never feel included unless you are with other people of your color or other people that are immigrants um, in the sense of it. So the colorism became more that no guy would like to date a black girl. All the black guys want white girls, and white guys want also white girls. The only guy that would look at you is the ones that are pushed away from society. That's the ones that will feel the same as you. So they would look at you, but the rest would be like, no, it's white girls for us. So colorism, depending on what stage you are in life, is a bit different, but it's type of like that.
Okay. Thank you. Um, so why do you guys believe people have negative attitudes about dark skin? I know in America a lot of it is a lot of it is from, slavery in America. Um, but why do you guys think?
Um, Me, I think it has something to do with slavery because after slavery, it came colonization because my country have been colonized by Europeans. So, and the slavery trade have also something to do with the religion because they always portray something bad as dark. So it make people believe that since we are darker, we are part of the evil children. So that's a little bit sad, but of course not true. So I have something to do with that. And also a fear, a fear of the unknown, the fear that when you realize that there's so many people who are more darker than you believe that your um your soul as a person, as a human being, is going to get swallowed. So that's why you put up something very crazy like in order to never be in the bottom. That's what I think. That's what I believe. From what I've seen, when you look deeper than that, if you put away colorism, you win. You go to the racism because colorism started because of racism. So
Right.
for me, that's what I saw when I look all of this.
Okay. And for you?
I would say definitely the same. People think that if you're black or colored, that you're less worthy, and that's because of the slavery times, and also because of these images that are spread through media that we are drug dealers or that we are thugs, that we are violent. So people would automatically think that you are evil, of course. And then also, since you are, if you're talking about Sweden, if you're black, you're definitely immigrant, and immigrants that don't have this good image also because they, or it's not actually statistically proven, but the people think that we don't have jobs and that we are um, violent and etc. etc. But it's not true.
Yeah. People give that stereotype to immigrants everywhere, which is really sad. But I mean, you would think people would like that if you're an immigrant, you would actually have to work harder. But no, it's immigrants don't have jobs. They do that. I feel like they probably do that in every country. I know they do it here,
Mm.
which is
They do that in France too because I'm not very immigrant because I didn't come because of the issue in my country. I came because I decided to stay. But most of the part, whatever they see that I was saying they think that too because sometimes when you tell people that you're not French and you don't have a French accent, I mean you don't have a African accent, they think automatically that you're French, and when you tell them that you're not, they get very surprised and they start asking you questions in order to see if you're dumb or not.
Yes.
yeah,
So
This
I
is
you get a lot of ignorant Christian sometimes. And of course you have to work towards other. I remember one time I lost a job just because I didn't have the French citizenship. And they gave it to a French girl who was not very good in English anyway. So
hmm,
yeah.
hmm.
no, but it is true. I had kind of a situation like that. When I was finishing middle school, I told my teacher that oh, no, she wasn't a teacher. She is an employee that helps children with I don't know, to give them directions or help them with any questions about the high school. So I told her that I wanted to study natural science, and she was like, "Are you sure about it? I don't think that you're gonna make it since you don't have any help at home, and it's a little bit hard to study natural science." And I was studying the eighth grade, and I had 1 year left to high school. So I started to study the hell out of me, didn't go out, didn't do anything. And that's when I made it to and got the highest scores in the whole school. And then I went to her and I told her, "Is it really impossible?" And she was like, "Oh, did you really didn't get any help?" And she had to get to my exams to look at them if they were actually true. So colorism exists, but it depends on what you believe in.
Yeah. I talked to this lady. Her name's Dr. Wilder. She works in like um well, right now she works in getting black people into like science and technology basically. So when I talked with her, she was just speaking about how colorism can reflect in who gets certain degrees or who studies certain things because um certain people aren't pushed towards certain fields. And just like in your example, you were perceived as somebody who couldn't do science and math because help at home. I don't know anybody who. I mean, I'm sure people's parents can help them with like regular homework, but like for trying to get into like a higher level like that, that's something that you could do if you studied, on your own. So I mean, wouldn't it be better to just encourage someone to push harder and to try harder rather than saying, "Oh, you don't have help at home, so I don't think that would be the right field for you." But yeah, it's definitely a thing that we think certain people can do certain things. So
No, but that's not only because of any help at home. It's also because of you're an immigrant, so they believe that you don't have the capability of learning a language very well. So even if you're very good in Swedish, you would still be, they would think that you don't speak it very well, whatever degree you get in it. And they also think that immigrants have uneducated parents, which in my case was kind of true because my mother didn't get an education in Somalia. But that doesn't mean that I need to get help from her to
exactly,
accomplish my studies. The studies are based on what you or that you have to get it on your own. They don't
exactly,
think, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So our next question is, what role do you think that traditional media has in perpetuating colorist stereotypes? So I can give an example first. To you. So with mine, I would say it's like in a lot of Black American shows, um, like you'll have a dark skinned husband and a light skinned wife, and rarely do you ever see like a just a dark skinned couple or a light skinned man with a dark skinned woman. It's the woman or the wife always has to be light skinned. And if there is a dark skinned woman, she's the best friend and she's stereotyped as someone who can't keep a man or who's loud, who's obnoxious, ghetto. So they they or she's in the like a mammy type of role. So they situate dark skinned black women to be in certain roles that they usually would not have a lighter tone black woman in. As far as in like beauty ads, I read an article that said that dark skinned women were least likely to be like the face of a beauty ad. Um, and another thing with in media would be um, media. Again, I would say music videos that rarely have darker toned black women in them. So those are my and also like what you talked about earlier, when we have like when you're watching TV and you see TV shows that have like lawyers or police officers or doctors, they're usually lighter toned black people. They regulate darker toned black people to be like in more stereotypical roles like drug dealers. So those are my examples.
Mm.
I think that media is true that what you said. There is this Netflix series that's called For Black Lightning, and it's maybe the only series that I've seen with black educated parents and family.
Someone
Uh,
else mentioned that show too. Sorry, but yeah, someone else.
very nice.
I talked to.
Mm.
That's the only series or show movie I've seen in my life with black educated family. And it's true that media shows that black male and women, both of them are less worthy, if I say so. Black men are the drug dealers, of course, and if they get educated and stuff, they are still violent and not trustworthy. And if it's a woman, she is a bitch. She is after sex or she wants to show her ass. Even if she's educated, you can try to be more perverse with her because she will accept it. That's the stereotypes that come through.
Yeah.
When I was in Africa in Kinshasa, I we didn't have that dark skin is a trashy, retro, whatever, because we don't have like African America. We don't have the she trashy, she ghetto. We don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about beauty standard, and it's more about beauty standard. But when I came in France, I had to deal with that trashy, ghetto, vulgar, and especially when it comes to African women who are dark skinned, whatever she would state her opinion, and she was very darker, they will always say stuff like, "What are you talking about, Fatoumata?" Like Fatu is an African name. It's not a derogatory name. It's a normal name. Besides Fatu sound very African, they want to make it sound like it's a slag. Like if you're dark skin, you're Fatumata and stuff. They would say like, yeah, shut up Fatumata, or she's a Fatu, or whatever, you know.
Mm,
And even though they would never say that to me, when whatever they say that to another girl, I would always step in because I'm African myself. It doesn't matter if you mix it or whatever, you're still black to me. So I'll always call out people for their nonsense.
right.
Where right now people start to slow down with that word, they start to realize that it's not right because it's not a bad name to especially put it in a darker skinned woman. And yes, the stereotype is very strong because I remember um one time if I had to say something that I didn't like about one guy, and that one guy tried to call me Fatumata, and that was kind of funny because he was more darker than me, and he said that. So for me, it was a little bit hilarious. And I also tell that person, first of all, you're darker than me. My mother have the same dark skin as you are. And it never crossed my mind to have something to say against my mother dark skin or even yourself. But the fact that you putting the Fatumata a name in order to make it sound like a slag in front of especially people who are not black, it's just embarrassing for me, but for you too, because no matter what you do, your skin will never change. So you're just
Hmm.
making a fun of yourself. I always tell them you never see white people, Asian people, other people say weird name to their own men and women. It's always the black folk, and you want to listen to the media. I don't really believe in media. When I was a child and I would see the Proud Family, for example, when I was a kid,
Very colorist.
it never crossed my mind that it was a colorist show. I learned
Hmm.
it when I grew up. I
Me
wasn't
too.
paying attention because for me it was a cartoon, it was for kids. But I didn't notice when I grew up. I saw that the darker friend of the main character she had really a big attitude, and no guys wanted her. And I
Hmm.
was like, no, no,
Hmm.
that's not true. When I'm quite sad that I didn't spot it earlier when I was a kid,
Me
but
too.
I was kind of lucky because my family is not colorist. Only my mother's and father's brother and sister, they are a little bit colorist because my auntie, that's kind of sucks. She trying to bleach her skin, and my auntie to try to bleach her skin, and they once told me you should bleach your skin. You will look more beautiful. And I had to tell her, black people was never born white or whatever, so I'm good with that. If I get a tan in the sun, it's for meaning. So why would I try? It's a waste of money. But yeah, the media play a lot because so many guys and girls from my generation, they get easily brainwashed by the media, and that's the thing that's very scary. It have a huge impact.
In fact.
Yeah, but I honestly think it's in every minority community. I know Latin or Hispanic people have a problem with colorism. Actually, a lot of
Yeah.
Asian countries do have
Yeah.
a problem with colorism.
Yeah, a lot.
They have
Uh,
a lot
I
of
had
issues with color.
one bad experience because my boyfriend is Japanese,
Mhm.
and when I went to Japan with him, most of the Japanese people will think that I'm a hooker just because I'm with him, and other Japanese women would try to seduce him in front of me. It never crossed their mind that I'm his girlfriend, I'm his fiance. It never crossed their mind. And because my boyfriend is very a little bit secret, he doesn't want to have to explain to strangers she's my girlfriend. You just back away and move on with me. But the fact that people, when the men look at me, they think right away that I'm a hooker just because I'm darker. It's crazy. It's very crazy. The media, it really shocked me that when you go to Asian country, they have so much high technology, but they know so little about things who are outside the country. It's very crazy.
Yeah.
Of course.
I did study abroad in Thailand for 3.5 months, and so they have their colorism there. The issues with color there is serious. A lot of their products, most, or I would say most of their lotions and stuff have bleaching creams in them. They advertise for bleaching. Like the girls I went to school with carry umbrellas over their face in 100-degree weather. Um, they I noticed that the people who I went to school with were whiter, and the people who
Mm.
worked were darker people. Um, when I went to the mall, mostly the people there were whiter people as well. Um,
They were looking
and
at you funny.
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody came up to me and said, "You're so dark" to me. When we went on this trip, me and my roommate, but no, they
Mm.
were like, "You're so dark, you're so dark," and I was like, "Okay." Um, and one time, me and
Done.
my roommate went on this trip, like parasailing to do some other stuff, and she's like I guess you could say she's a mixed or light skin. She looks more mixed than light skin. So I was with her and like all the Chinese people, because this was mostly Chinese people at this
Mm.
area, were like taking
Yeah.
pictures of her and wanting to get in the picture with her and just like all, swarming her. And then I was right there like, so they didn't really like take to me how they did to her. I guess because she looked more
Exotic or something?
exotic than I. Um, they like were just taking just all over her, and I kind of was just standing there. And she's a very beautiful girl, very nice and sweet girl too.
Mm.
But I was like, oh, this is interesting. One country in Africa, like so now any so, and then I also read that they don't maybe know that there are black Americans. So they like Americans, but they don't know that there are black Americans. So if you're black, they assume that you come. Not that there's anything wrong with coming from an African country, but they assume you're from Africa, so they
Mm.
don't like you. And I even asked this girl because she was talking about moving to America. Like I asked her about did she know anything like about like America's history. I asked her, did she know about slavery in America? And she said that she never heard of America having slavery. She was saying she wanted to move to New York. I asked her about it. Did she know any of the stuff about, New York? Because I feel like they have an ideal of America that's just not true. And she just didn't know any of the bad stuff. And I'm like, well,
Wow.
okay. So just everywhere there's
Mm.
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here, people don't like in Thailand they will advertise bleaching stuff, but here that's not really you can't in America you can't really advertise bleaching stuff as
Mm.
much as
Of
you
course.
can in Asian
Because
countries.
especially because of the history of America, but
Yeah,
in
yeah,
our Asian country, it's not because they don't really have. They were more busy other Asian groups than to mind what American and other African countries have to deal with. I
yeah.
think so.
And their issue in Asia, their issues with colorism, I think, are more associated, like you said, with African people. The idea of like
Beauty.
beauty and
Mm.
also like kind of like a caste system associated with like color as well. Um, so it's not as it's frowned upon. Um, and like in African countries, I also read that men like for the women to be lighter tone, but they don't like women who bleach.
Oh, they like to contradict themselves. They like to contradict. They want a woman who's born light skinned, but you are in Africa. The sun is very bright. Stop asking for an alien.
Yeah,
Like this is crazy. And yeah, and the funny thing is, if you're not light skinned, at least you should not have a big nose, a big mouth, stuff like that, you know. It's just crazy. But in like other country, Congo, even though there's bleach, that's the skin, the light skin color is more the main issue. It's more of the main issue because at least the African men, they don't mind that you were born naturally with nappy hair. Like they see a lot of girl having weave everywhere, but they would definitely don't mind a woman who take care of her hair and have like a big afro or short afro as long as it look healthy, you know. But I've noticed that whatever African men stop living African, coming European, some of them change their perspective and some of them don't. There is so many. There was African guy who still love black women, and there were other who like black women, but a certain type of black woman, light skin, or you
Right.
know, and you have the other one who only want a non-black woman. Since I'm a dancer at night, and I'll give you an example. I experiences colorism. There was a mixed guy with his friend who was darker skin, so they wanted to have a dance with a girl, and the darkest one wanted his friend to try a white girl as a dancer, but the mixed guy didn't want any white dancer. Not that he hated, he doesn't hate it, just that he's not aroused, he's not sexually attracted to white women. And his darker friend, that really shocked me. I was like, his darker friend wanted to push him to have a white girl dancing for him. And he said no. And he said, I want this girl. He was talking about me. I want this girl because, you know, I had my afro wig since I cut my hair. I'm afro wig, my makeup, you know, looking on fleek. And he just, I want her. I want her. And his friend was looking at me, was like, because I'm skinny too. So I'm skinny too. So there was another other black girl, but it was like, I want this skinny girl with afro, and he was like, that's a wig. He was like, I don't care. I want her. I don't care. I want her. And he was very pissed, and I was very surprised. Like, why are you pissed? I asked him, why are you pissed? He's like, yeah, but you never try white girl. Like the same way you want a white chick is the same way you want a black girl. Come on. And it was very hurtful. But like I'm used to it, so I'm over it because I'm not going to get mad at a black guy for liking a white woman, especially if he's not my type, he's not my boyfriend. That's his business. But the fact that he's trying to pursue a person who's actually mixed, who like both white and black, and you forcing them to choose a side, I think it's kind of disgusting, especially if you're a black person. You know the struggle of colorings and racism, and yet you want to behave like the people who oppress you. So I face colorings almost every time I go to work. But that's just the job, so I don't really care. But when I see stuff like that, it's like it pierces me. It really pierces me.
Yeah.
And but I don't lose faith in humanity because when I see other black women customer who come, they're like, no, I'm here to support black women. I want only black girls. And you see other uh, mixed chick and white women be a little bit annoyed. So it's just very sad that colorism is still there, no matter what we say. And if we speak about it, we bitter, we hungry, we trying to look
Yeah.
a mess. Like
Exactly.
you would never understand because you don't face it.
Yeah.
You never. It's like telling a person who is allergic to the sun that you're making a big deal out of it. It's nothing because the sun doesn't affect you. This is how I see the thing.
Yeah.
It's very messed up.
Yeah. I agree. Okay.
Actually, in Sweden, it's a little bit different, I would say. When we were young, of course, we were a bit ashamed of our hair, so we would straighten it as a kid all the time. But then when we grow up, we feel like no, we have to resist this. So starting from the age of 15, most of the Africans and most of the people with curly hair just stop and they let their hair free as it is. You know, they never change it. And also it's because of this, what I call as a black rise, these last years that people are just getting more and more confident with themselves as black girls and black boys. And like Beyonce's new song, Dark Skin Girl, So, you know, these kind of stuff are actually really nice because I would say that most of the adults or older girls here in Sweden would not pay attention to like, you know, bleach their skin or act white. They would be black as they are, which is super nice.
It's so interesting how you'll be treated according to where you are because
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny you talk about your hair it like in America you will be considered of having it's in the black community you will be considered of having good hair
Yeah,
so
that's true.
yeah, so it's so interesting that, like, because of where you are, not that I think I don't think there's good hair and bad hair, but
Mm-hmm.
like
Me
our
neither.
community has that idea. It's so interesting that because of where you're located, your hair wouldn't be considered the ideal type of hair. But here, you know, everyone would say, or not, I don't want to be dramatic,
Even
but
in France too. Your hair too
yeah,
is very
here
perfect.
your hair is like it's good hair. So it's just
Also in
so
Sweden.
but to a white standard, it's not
Yeah.
it's not good hair.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so it's really crazy, just like
But let
according
me guess. They say you don't have good hair, but the first one who want to have sex with you. Somebody
So
explain to
true.
me.
That's so true. And whenever they try to come to you, they will be like, "Oh, you're too beautiful to be black. You're the most beautiful black woman I've seen." You know, these kind of comments are very normal to hear. Whenever not only a white guy but black guy comes to you, he also says the same kind of ish. And also that, yeah,
that sounds like you're too. So I have this shirt on I bought from this girl. It says what you just said just sounds like what she her shirts. It says you're pretty to be dark skinned and then it says no I'm just pretty. But that just sounds like what you just said. So people say that over there too. You're pretty.
I
You're
get that
pretty
too.
to be
I
a
get
black
that too.
girl.
You
Yeah.
get that a lot. A
Mhm.
lot. It's the most hurtful thing is when they think like you don't have a white nose, you don't want a big lip. They think that it's complimenting. Is like, no, 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 sweetie. You're just turning me off right now, and you
Yeah,
just
it's not a
sound
compliment.
like an idiot.
You can't be black or you're pretty to be black. So
yeah,
okay. What role do you believe colorism plays in dating and marriage?
a big role, like big one. Traditionally, or what I know is that mm, when a guy brings a darker girl to his family, they're so against it without even asking her name. They're like, "Why are you bringing in a black nigga or the blackest one of the girls?" And if you are lighter than the guy, you seem to be beautiful. And it's the same even if you're a white boy that brings home a black girl, she's still darker. But if she's lighter than him with blonde hair, she's still lighter. So I think it's in every community, not only in our. And dating has, no, psychologists have proven that dating is also based on color and colorism. People would definitely think that you're more attractive if you're white, and that's because we're psychologically brainwashed.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say.
Yeah,
I
I
believe.
agree.
Oh, well, when it comes to me, yes, it does. Because I remember when there was a time I would only date, my first experience, my first boyfriend was a black guy. So my first boyfriend was a black guy, and my family was right away asking, what does he do for a living? Is he Christian? Whatever. But when I start to date white guys, because I felt more comfortable with white guys, but they would not even trying to question him. They will only ask him. They will only ask him if he's Christian. Other than that, they will not ask him what he do for a living and stuff like that. And people will be like, "You should date him so you have the French citizenship." And I'm like, "What?" uh, and yeah, it is very crazy because when it was my turn to get introduced to other people, they were asking me, "What do you do for a living? Do you have do you have a future for your plan and stuff? Bet they and I asked them. Oh, I asked my ex. Oh, I guess, uh, your family is used to ask all the girl you date. You're like, no, you're the only one from all the white girl I've been dating. You're the only one they ask. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And when you come to the other black guy, it will be their friend. They will be like, is she mixed? Because at that time I used to strengthen my hair. I had like very long hair, and when they saw my hair, the first thing they asked, "Is she mixed?" And I was like,
Oh
"What?"
my God. Let me tell you a story. I remember one time I was at school and I had just washed my hair, so it was like really curly, when it's kind of a little bit wet.
Mm.
And I was standing in the line to get to the lunchroom to eat lunch. And a girl's come straight to me. She was Swedish, and she drags my hair. And I'm like, ouch, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, I just wanted to see if it was fake because it looked so beautiful. And then
And
she
then
was
if you would have
standing there.
popped her across
That's
the face,
that's actually almost
you would have
It
been
assault.
was really weird. And then she was still
Come
standing
on,
there.
if
And I
you
was like,
try to do that to a
uh,
white lady, they'll say this girl crazy. Call the police. That's
no,
actually
but
assault.
really, no, I was still standing there. And she was like, so where did you buy it from? I'm really loving it. And I was like, are you serious? You just dragged it and it didn't fill up. It's not a wig. And she was like, I'm gonna try to believe that. Okay, bye.
And then if you would have popped her in the face, you would have been crazy, rude, aggressive.
Violent.
You wouldn't have belonged there. It would
Well,
have it would have
you
been
don't
your
really
fault.
have to touch her
But I
physically,
didn't do
but
anything. I think like I'm a
vocabulary.
calm person. I'm very calm. So I was like, another day of it. And then I just went home.
I'm a cold person too, but I love sarcasm. I love sarcasm. I will be like, so you're just going to walk away after coming into somebody you don't even know and do
And
that?
touching their hair.
Like,
Not
I,
even just touching it, pulling it.
I don't even, when I see a beautiful hair, it doesn't even cross my mind to touch it. So like, come on, she doesn't know me. That's weird. I don't
It
want you
is
to give me
weird.
your negative energy. No.
Yeah, that was, yeah. It's just another day of it. But some people are like, oh yeah, they come to you. Like most of the Swedish people, they think that as a black, you have to have a wig. It's impossible to have a natural hair. Whatever, if your hair is straight, if it's curly, it's just super curly, it's still a wig. Some of them even believe that we don't have hair. So it
Oh
depends
my
on where you
God.
are.
You should tell them human who were born without hair doesn't exist. Except if you have cancer or if you have alopecia or you were born bald. But
And then also that most of the people that live here, or many people, many of the black girls are Muslims. So they have scars, right?
oh yeah.
And then they
Oh.
associate it with that and with the wig. So they think, oh yeah, they are
So
still.
the assassin
Uh,
relation with oh my God, people are so
no,
dumb.
but they think like it's another type of wig for covering your head and
Oh,
not
okay,
like
okay.
no hair.
Interesting. So our next question is, um, what do you believe is the difference between colorism and preference? Now, this might be more of like I don't know if people in you got the countries that you guys live in have the same thing, but here in like I don't know if it's like an American thing, but like here people will say something colorist and then they'll say that's just my preference. So, like they'll say, "Oh, I don't like dark skinned girls because they're ratchet, but that's just my preference." And so, to me, that's colorism, but they use the word preference. So, I don't know if people um, mask colorism with the word preference where you live, but that's how it is here. So, is that a thing where you guys live?
Yes, for me, yes, yes,
Yes.
yeah. But
Definitely.
like for example, if I give you a year's difference, like I said earlier, I used to date black guy, but I stopped and I started to date white guy. And one thing for sure, I stopped dating white guy for this because they're lame. And whatever a black guy would tell me, why do you date non-black men? I would just say I just didn't have the chance to get a nice feeling with a black man.
Mm-hmm.
And That's it. If my soulmate is a black man, then it's gonna be a black man because it's my soulmate. If my soulmate is a white or Asian, whatever, then it's going to be. The fact that you drag, because I'm not gonna lie, in the past I used to hate black men because of all the stuff, because of the colorings, because of the fact that they disrespect us. I used to have a big hate, not because I was jealous, but because I was feeling like shit. So
Yeah,
whatever they will ask me, why do you like white guy? I'll be like, maybe because for the first time of my life, I felt beautiful because a white guy told me that my natural hair is pretty. Meanwhile, my own brother doesn't even say that my natural hair is beautiful.
that's understandable, girl. That isn't. That's understandable.
But it doesn't mean that it's a right thing.
Yeah,
So
but
I
it's
would try,
understandable.
yeah, but I would try to degrade them, to degrade black men. So when you think about it, when black men say that they don't like black women, it's different from women, because in my case it was just because black men doesn't like me for being a black woman.
Yeah.
But black men is not the fact that they don't like a black woman for being a black woman. They don't like the fact that they are black. That's a
Mhm.
use different. Because even though I was dating a white person, whenever we say a bad comment about black people, I will be like, you dating me, so you better respect that, because you won't hear me saying bullshit. I can call out racism, but if you're going to say bad thing about black people, uh, don't date a black woman. It doesn't matter. The I don't like this. I don't like this because no, you don't like a type of woman because you have something against those type of people. You have nothing to do with preference. Either you don't like those women, black women, because they did you dirty, or either you don't like them because they have a reflect. They reflect who you are, who your mother is. And
Yeah.
since the society hate black people, you want to be something else. But by the end of the day, you're going to have a child who's mixed, but that child is not going to date. Oh, if your child is a mixed girl, she's not going to date a black man, because you already portray a negative thought about black people. So why would she go for a black man? So the fact that I don't like this, but no, it's not about preference. Here's the difference. I've seen a guy who told me, I usually don't find black women attractive, but today you changed my mind. So I believe that some black women are beautiful, even though it was messed up for him to say that. But he didn't
Thank you.
try. And also another thing, for example, because that's why I fell in love with my Japanese boyfriend. I asked him, why do you like black women? He said, I like them because they're beautiful. This. And I said, what about Japanese women? And he was like, well, I used to date Japanese women. I don't have anything special going on, but it's just that I like black women. It didn't say Japanese women or this. No, it just say I like black women. I just have a preference, but I didn't hear, even every day I've never heard him saying bad thing about Japanese women. So this is a use difference.
I see what you're saying.
If he's saying bad thing about Japanese women, what makes you think that he's not gonna say bad thing about you?
I see what you're saying. With our community, men will. It's not a preference because with our community, like I've talked to two lighter skin and two mixed women who mixed with black and white who said that black men talk bad about dark skinned women to them. Both of the mixed
Mm-hmm.
women that I talked to have said that. So that's where there is no preference because, like you said, with
Mm-hmm.
your boyfriend, he said, "Oh, I just like black women." There was no "I hate Japanese women." So there's when the colorism and preference issue comes in because you can't. I feel like I guess you can prefer a certain thing without bashing the other
Exactly.
one.
When I see white people say, I like blonde girl better than brunettes, that's it. You don't hear that. I don't like brunette because they're this and that.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that, this just tell you all. I'm not saying white people, but because
No,
I
I
don't
see what you're saying.
understand them. Yeah, you just say I like light skin. I like light skin better. I just think they're more interesting. Or I like dark skin better because I don't know. I feel more drained to them. And that's it. You don't have to be specific. Nobody is going to kill you. But the fact
Right.
that those men need to say why they don't like it. for me, not only self-hate, but you just indirectly telling how much you don't like yourself. Because who brought you to life?
Right.
Man. So if black men are bad and you come from them, it's mean that you're bad too.
Right. And you,
That's all I have to.
do people talk about preference a lot where you live?
No, we don't say preference. They use another word for it. I don't like black people, but I'm not a racist. That's what they say here.
Yeah.
They usually don't talk about preferences because it's not even in our imagination that we could prefer other people than white. So they say instead, I'm not a racist. Um,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I'm
yeah.
not arrested.
Uh, and another thing is that that uh, black people here are kind of brainwashed, as I said. So for them, if they're not culturally conservative, they would say that white people is our thing. And not only that, for me, for example, I would never say that I would prefer a white guy over a black guy, personally. But it is where I live. We don't have many black people. I could even count them with one hand. We're not associated with each other. We don't live in black communities. We don't meet a lot of black people. So that's why we culturally get involved with the other's culture. And it also depends on, for example, I've just started university, and whenever I want to meet black people, I have to go to the social science side. There is where I will find black people. But in natural science, and engineering, you will never know, not many. White, I've been associated with white people since I was a kid because I studied natural science and stuff. And people are usually like, "Oh wow, you're a black person that studies that." So it is weird, but yeah, it's just that I never meet black people usually, which is sad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's true. We're not represented um in those fields. So yeah. Okay. And so how do you believe that gender intersects with colorism?
I think the genders have something to do with that because, like I said before, the color dark is seen as evil and aggressive. And since women were supposed to be reproduced, we don't have that strong testosterone to fight and everything. The fact that you have a darker shade and be a woman can be a little bit not complicated, but almost like a curse.
Yeah.
So yeah, people will always see that. And when you are a man, the fact that you have a light skin seen as good, as peaceful, because people believe that women are peaceful creature being. They haven't seen the Woman Alien movie, I guess. Um, so that's why when you're a light skinned man and people will trying to portray you as gay and such, from my experience in friends, it doesn't matter if you're a light skinned black man, you're still a man.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's really have something to do with gender, gender equality, but in the wrong way, in the most
Yeah.
not important topic at all.
Yeah.
no,
So
but
yeah,
I think that that's true, partially, but also that women has it. Um, Women have a different psychological thinking. Uh, they are like thinking outside the box. It's easier for women to get together with someone that doesn't have the same race or the same color than for men. Men are more conservative. Men are they
mm,
usually see or they're usually attracted to someone from their society. Um,
exactly.
yeah.
That's true. She have a point here. They like to be attracted from what they see that what is inside compared to women. That also is a part of it because we all know that women are more mature than men. That's for sure. So the part of their immaturity is a part of it too. So yeah. Oh, I'm starting to sound like a feminist. Um,
So we just have a couple more questions. So my next one is: do you believe that colorism is institutionalized? Like, do you think it affects job status, socioeconomic status, prison sentences, etc.?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
100%. Yes.
yeah, that's pretty much like a yes or no.
Yes. Yeah. I see the difference. Like my mom is more dark skinned than me and she had to struggle a lot, especially because she was dark skinned. And if she was light skinned, people would give her more light job
Mhm.
than here. And also, like I told you, my experience when I was fired is because I didn't have different citizenship. The white girl and the light skinned girl was staying, even though the English was kind of bad. It really have something to do with that. And at my job, I only got my job because I didn't have the stereotype negroid face. So yeah, have really something to do because where I work, there's not a lot of black girl. There's only
They they said, or what happened now?
oh, you didn't know. In France, they call it negroid face. Yeah,
So
like
did
you don't.
someone say that?
Yeah, yes. That was the friend of the owner of the place I work. She was like, "You're so different. You don't have the negroid face like your other friends." I was like, "Calm down. You're just doing that for your work. Don't end up fired if you whoop the ass of this girl." Yeah. She's like, "Oh, you're so pretty. You don't have a big nose. You don't have big lips. You don't have that negroid face." All right. And she was
So
like, "No, I'm not trying to
Negroid
be rest. Negroid face."
is Negroid a everyday word
No,
in
like
France?
she told me because she felt comfortable because I was very friendly and I don't take people way of saying to personally because for me I don't try to argue with stupid people. So I just said okay because stupid people you cannot have a debate, a smart debate with them. So she would just say, "Yeah, you have a nice beautiful face. You don't have the negroid face like other girls." And I'm like, "Oh, I guess that's why you hire me here then." So that's not the owner. He said that was the friend of the owner of the club. So I'm like, okay, okay.
Wow.
And sometimes, and also the funny thing when because we have to do audition to work to see if you have a skill. So the guy who hired me, he's American, and the old lady who take care of the girls accessory, she's a French old lady. And when he say we take you, you hire, and he went on the backstage, and I heard them, and the lady was like, "Another black girl," and he was like, "Well, she know how to dance. She's cute." So, and what do you mean another black girl? Just almost like a 15 East Russian and East girl, and there's only like 5 or 7 black girls. So why you saying another black girl for? Like, come on.
Hmm. Okay. Huh. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I don't know. Of course, that colorism is always associated with work, and wherever you are. Uh, for example, for me, I've worked a lot with international projects since I was a kid, and I was always uh, a good kind of a leader. I had this type of position where I was the leader that gave everyone his job or her job and presented the project for other organizations and other members. So people were like always, why is she the head? Or what capabilities does she have which others don't have, or type of these things sometimes. Whenever I say, oh yeah, I work with these stuff, they'll be like, are you a secretary, or what do you do in the organization? You know, these type of questions. They always think that, nah, it's not possible. Um, but I've had a really good teammate and a team uh, in a whole, so it was much easier.
Okay.
Wow, that's so.
Wow. Okay. So last couple questions. Who is responsible for breaking the cycle of colorism, and do you believe it will ever end?
Black woman. Black woman is the one who did it. Black woman. No,
Mm,
nobody else. Black woman.
think Black women got to end it?
Yeah, yeah. Because I remember what Martin Luther King said: the most disrespected woman in America is black woman. That those words he said it because a black woman
Yeah.
saw it. Could be his mom, his sister, whatever. So it's black woman no matter what. Because a man would never wake up. Oh, let's defend black women. No,
Okay, so
black.
you saying nobody else is gonna do it?
Mm, exactly. That's black woman.
Okay.
Black women, we are our own hero.
Okay. And you?
It's really hard. But it is true that it is black women because it's also us that usually go around and talk shit about ourselves. It's usually women like mothers that be like, "Oh, this is black girl, that's black girl," you know. So I think that yeah, it's black women definitely.
Okay. Well, I appreciate both of you for your time. And I appreciate this discussion. So thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
okay, well, I appreciate talking with you guys.
Thank you
Me
so
too.
much for
That
being
was
here
very
and good luck with
interesting.
your work.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right.